On this episode of Locked On Angels, how should the Halos use Kenley Jansen? And would our favorite team consider moving Logan O'Hoppe to a new position due to his struggles behind the plate? Plus, we've got our takeaways from last night's game. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to give back to the Super Halo Bros for all the Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. One of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation. And this episode of Locked On Angels is brought to you by our friends at GameTime. You can download the GameTime app, create an account, and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase.
Happy 4th of July to you. Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
I'm ready to cannonball, baby. I'm jumping in that pool as soon as we're done here. Let's go. We're here 5 days a week talking Angels baseball with you every single weekday, Monday through Friday. On today's show, we'll give you our takeaways in segment 3 for last night's game against the Atlanta Braves and how the series came to an end. But we're also going to consider, should the Angels consider Logan O'Hoppe at a different position? Speaking of sort of that topic, how about the Halos and their use of Kenley Jansen? Mike, let's get into that conversation.
Yeah, this is something we talked about this week on Locked On Angels. Tuesday night, the Angels had a 4-run lead heading into the bottom of the 9th inning. Kenley Jansen gets the ball, even though it wasn't a save opportunity. And again, we discussed this on the show, and we wanted the Angels to focus on winning the game at hand. So I personally, and I would maybe throw you in that category too, John, we didn't really have an issue with Kenley being used, but how did Kenley feel about it? He said, I do what the team wants me to do, but I'm not a big fan of the 4-run lead. He was asked if he told the Angels that, and he said, I don't have to say that. I love that response. I think they probably know. Now, Ray Montgomery acknowledged that Jansen prefers to be used when it's a save, and it's a save situation, but there's a few circumstances that led to the decision to bring him in Tuesday's game. Ray said, hey, we respect what he wants to do and what he's done for the game. But on the flip side, the new rules and stuff, you really want to make sure that you can get the win. You want to first get the win on a road trip. You want to lock that down. You want to secure it. We go back and forth all the time talking about different things, but I have no issue with what Kenley wants and with what we're trying to do here. He doesn't either. And again, those situations, there's going to be situations where he doesn't prefer, but he's going to be called upon, and we're going to need him in those circumstances.
Yeah, great stuff from Jeff Fletcher, the OC Register. He mentioned the new rules that Montgomery is talking about relates to the 3-batter minimum rule that started in 2020. Some managers are reluctant to start the inning with, a pitcher who's not as great other than their closer if they know the pitcher will have to face 3 batters. So Jansen, putting his feelings aside, the way he's been used is not all that different from other closers this year. At the time of Jeff's article, he mentioned that Josh Hader, who has a major league leading 24 saves, has been used 5 times in 37 games with a lead of at least 4 runs. And then Robert Suarez, the closer that the Angels got to when they faced him a couple of weeks ago, he has 24 saves, but he's been used with leads of at least 4 runs or more in 37 games as well. Kansas City closer, we know him, Carlos Estevez. He's got 23 saves. He's only pitched once in 35 games with the lead of more than 3 runs. That's because the Royals don't have any offense. Come on, what are we talking about here? So, Mike, with all that said, do we have any hangups here about how the Halos are using Kenley Jansen out of the pen, and do his feelings about wanting to come in save situations, but also being open to not doing that, obviously? How does that all factor together here? What do you think?
I think first, it's team first, and you have to focus on, hey, let's win this game right now. Let me just say it one more time. That's been the drum that we have been banging this whole time on Locked On Angels. We need to focus on this game. Don't coach and manage for 2 games down the line. Focus on this game and figure it out in the next game. And so I don't have a problem. You don't have a problem with Kenley coming in and being a guy that holds a lead or being a guy that comes in to close out a game, especially if it's been a game that you've been fighting in, or it's a beginning of a road trip like it was on Tuesday night against Atlanta. So I don't have a problem with that. I think the second layer to that is you can see the difference in Kenley Jansen save opportunity and Kenley Jansen hold opportunity or get the win opportunity. And the Kenley Jansen in the save situations, man, that guy is ice cold, right? I know he has got one blown save. Really wasn't his fault because he did get a ball that was supposed to be
every closer is going to have a blown save. Yeah,
absolutely. And so that reality though was that it really wasn't his fault in that situation.
Yeah.
So he's ice cold. He's stone cold, right? In those moments. But when it comes to opportunities of holds or maybe making sure they have the win and the lead is strong, he seems to not be as focused. Maybe there's a better way to describe that, but I'm just going to use that phrase. He seems to be not as focused or as ice cold in those moments. And perhaps it's because he prefers to have a save situation. But if a guy hasn't been out there like Kenley Jansen in a few days, then you got to give him some reps. And so I think that that's a good move. I love that he's like, I'm going to do what the team wants me to do. I don't think that this is ever going to be an issue for the team, but I do like the fact that Wash did it, and now Ray Montgomery has shown that they're just going to try to get the win. And Kenley's your best option in the bullpen. And so let's make sure that we get our best option in a situation where we need to lock this down and lock it down right now.
The truth is the game has changed with that 3-batter minimum rule. You have to start an inning with a fresh pitcher who's got to face 3 batters. Now, if somebody comes in and they only have to face for the last out, then you can change pitchers again at the top of the next inning or the next time that you're pitching again. So the rules have changed the game somewhat. The other thing is, Mike, how pitchers are being used is less about like, oh, we got to have this guy in the 9th inning, and more like, oh, he's going to face Ohtani and Mookie and Freddie. Yeah. Let's bring him in the 7th because that's when those 3 are coming up, right? And sometimes that's what you do. And we've seen that. We've seen that with Carlos Estevez last year. We've seen the Angels play that sort of game too. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that kind of game. Now, we haven't seen Kenley not in the 9th inning in the situation like that. I say all that because I think with Kenley, going back to your point about maybe not being as ice cold, not as nails when he's in a non-save situation, Mike, I think it's because he always has a huge cushion to work with. And so there's often a moment where, if they're up 4-0 and he comes in and then the game ends at 4-1, I don't care. And neither does Kenley. And I don't think that he really cares about that either. It's, what, this guy, he got lucky against me or he came around to score or what have you. I think in those situations, Kenley is okay with playing with the cushion that he's given in those non-save situations. So all of that to say the game has changed. And when you consider going for the win and striking when you have to strike, as you mentioned, especially after a difficult game, maybe it's back and forth, maybe it's been a close game the whole time and you just need that assurance. Bring in the guy who is going to get it done for you. And right now, that's Kenley Jansen. I also think that you have other options too. You could bring in a Reed Detmers or a Ryan Zephyr. No, I'm just kidding. Zephyr John. By the way, I know this can't be any of our everydayers, but if you know somebody or see this online, don't be a friggin' bozo and message or spam players who have a bad game on social media. I saw on Angels Reddit that Ryan had to switch all of his stuff to private, like on Instagram, because there's bozos out there that go after people for their performance. So don't do that. I know that's not our everydayers. You certainly wouldn't do that. But if you know a bozo, tell them to not be a bozo, right, Mike?
Yeah, don't be a bozo, be an everydayer. We're glad that you're here. And when it comes to Kenley Jansen, John, I think it's really important to help him to be in a situation where he is nails, where he is ice cold. And so I think that that's the takeaway I have from this. He wants to help the team win, but if we can get him in situations where he is at his best and he's got the best mentality and he's got the best approach, then that's the goal. And I heard that from Ray Montgomery in his quote in this article from Jeff Fletcher from the OC Register. And so I appreciate that. However, I think all of them would be glad to say, yeah, we're going to do whatever is necessary to get the victory, because ultimately for a team that's battling to be 500 or maybe a little bit better than 500, every game matters, especially with the American League right now, with the league not being as strong as it has in the past. And you want to make sure that if you have a lead, you got to get that victory. You can't let that fall apart. And we saw that happen a lot to the Angels last year. And this year we've seen a couple of games where they should have been able to come away with the victory and they didn't. So you want your best guys in those best situations.
Finally, the final point I'll make is he's got to have work. If there's non-save situations that come up and it's been, two series between a save situation, well, we've seen what's happened with Kenley when he's in a situation where he needs to get the save and hasn't had work in quite some time. We saw that earlier this season. So that's another factor here is guys got to get some work in. He's actually got to be in a game, even if it is a non-save situation. We have to see him, at least once a week, right? Mm-hmm. If the Angels are scuffling, you still got to bring him in at some point, and he's done that once or twice. But there was that period of time where the Angels were really bad, and that bad month where we didn't see much of Kenley. And the next time he had to come in for an important situation, he just wasn't able to get it done. So that's also a key aspect to all of this as well. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Coming up, should the Angels consider a new position for Logan O'Hoppe in light of his struggles behind the dish? We've got our thoughts and some of the thoughts from around the team. We'll get into those in just a minute.
How about getting some tickets with GameTime? They're the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without all the stress, and then you can save money on those tickets, and then you can get that helmet nachos. Maybe get 2 helmet nachos, especially when you go to Angel Stadium. GameTime makes ticket buying so easy, so simple, and so fast. Prices on the app actually drop before first pitch, and so they've got some really great last-minute deals, and they have the lowest price guarantee, which I love about GameTime, and they are the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB. So let them help you out the next time that you're going to an Angel game. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use our promo code Locked On MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Some terms apply. Again, create an account and use our promo code Locked On MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day, even on Independence Day. Thanks for letting us join you for the holiday. Mike catcher Logan O'Hoppe has shared that his struggles behind the plate have caused many fans to consider whether or not he should be at another position. On Wednesday, Perry Minasian said that moving O'Hoppe is not in consideration. Here's what Perry had to say. He's definitely somebody that we believe in. We think will catch for us for a long time. He's going to be a big part of this team. Now, this is another Jeff Fletcher insight. O'Hoppe's blocking and framing numbers have been very poor this season. Well, I should say a Jeff Fletcher report, because I think we all have seen that insight of poor framing, poor blocking. Minasian also said that O'Hoppe's improved in his game calling, meaning that he's helping guide pitchers along and help them with their pitch selection. Perry says that is the most important job for any catcher. He also said O'Hoppe deserves some credit for navigating the pitching staff through a shutout on Tuesday night against the Braves. Here's what he had to say. He's a young player. If we're worried about every young player and some of their deficiencies, you wouldn't play any of them. Nobody's perfect. But the great thing about Logan and all of our young guys is that they care, they work, and they're trying to get better every single day. They learn from not only their successes, they learn from their failures too. He's somebody that I believe in. So he added, we believe in as an organization, and we can see him be an outstanding catcher. So how do you feel about Perry Minasian and his thoughts on Logan O'Hoppe's defensive issues so far this season?
John, could I shift from host of Locked On Angels and just be an Angel fan for just a moment? Can I do that?
Yeah.
I think it's really important to say a few things. One, we try to be reasonable and logical on this show, and we're going to continue to do that. And we'll lean more positive than anything because we're positive people. However, it's positivity with reasonable takes, with thoughtful, logical takes. So if I jump out of that a little bit in this next conversation. Please forgive me.
Oh, I'm going to sit back and watch this.
I just get so frustrated, John, when I see social media, supposed Angel fans that immediately just want to send somebody down to the minor leagues. Right. And I've seen people say, oh, man, got to send Logan down, work on his. You can't send Logan down. Yeah. Logan O'Hoppe is a pillar for this organization at the catching position. We have not had a great catcher at the catching position since Benji Molina. Now, I know Napoli was there, and I know that Jeff Mathis was there. He was the bane of my existence. He frustrated me. But Napoli, they moved him out at about 28 years old because he wasn't good at it, right? O'Hoppe is still a young guy that's still learning. And that's where I get really frustrated, because a lot of people who see this team, it's obvious that they're not leading anybody. Because if they were leading anybody, man, those people that they are leading are going to be suffering, because they're looking for, what have you done for me in this moment and this moment alone, instead of seeing the whole story. And now I get it. You want a catcher who's not struggling. You want a catcher who's good. You want a catcher who offensively can hit. And you want a catcher who defensively can handle your pitching staff. You want a Salvi Perez, right? You want a guy back there that's strong on both spectrums of playing baseball, defensively and offensively. But it took Salvi Perez some time. Maybe it didn't take him as much time as other players like Logan O'Hoppe, but it took him some time to really become a great catcher. It took Benji Molina some time. It took Lance Parrish some time. And so the thing that I just get really frustrated with is when people jump down Logan's throat and say, hey, he's got to be, sent down, or he's got to do this, or immediately got to find a new position, when this guy is trying to figure out how to be a major league caliber catcher and how to be a quality bat in a lineup that needs him, and behind the plate that needs him. And no, this isn't because we bowled with Logan O'Hoppe that I'm fighting for him. This isn't because of that. I liked Logan O'Hoppe before that. No, this isn't because Logan O'Hoppe's parents sought us out at the bowling place and wanted Logan to come over and meet us, because they've appreciated our reasonable, logical takes. They've appreciated us when we go after things, and then when we have a solution to things. They've appreciated that. So tip of the cap to the O'Hoppes. This is because he's a young guy that's still learning the position. And here's the reality, is that in August, some of this stuff, it might go away. It might be corrected. It might be fixed. Next year at this time, we may not even be talking about that. We may be going, wow, his defensive run saves last year, they were terrible, but now look at it, right? Like that's when we talk about being positive. That's the hope that we have, because what Logan O'Hoppe has shown us is very different than what we've had on this team in years past. Logan has shown us, and he's communicated it, which doesn't happen often with the Angels, that he's working hard. He's figuring some things out. We've done 2 segments on this show in the last month and a half of Logan's adjustment with his legs behind the plate. He adjusted because the first style wasn't working. Then he adjusted back because he said, I sucked. And so you have a guy who's willing to put in the work, who's willing to fight for it. He's in the Jared Walsh category for me, John. And the Jared Walsh category is this: somebody who can struggle, but his attitude and his posture and his communication is top notch. He lets us know what he's thinking and what he's working on. Logan O'Hoppe is always going to hold a special place in my fan heart, because he's somebody that reflects the type of player that you want. He has taken the lead from Mike Trout. He carries himself well. He's wanting to learn. He's wanting to get better. And yeah, maybe you need to pull him out of the lineup a little bit more often, because he has been struggling. But our philosophy on Locked On Angels has been, give him opportunities, because that's how he's going to learn. Sending him down is ridiculous and silly. That's not going to help him at all. And keeping him on the roster in his position is going to be the thing that helps him to develop. That doesn't mean that in the future they shouldn't consider that. But I agree with Perry. I think he needs to be the pillar behind the plate. I think he needs to be the pillar with who he is with the bat in the lineup. I think Logan's the type of guy that you want. You just got to give him time. Baseball fans, everydayers, Angel fans, we just got to give him time. And now's the time to give him time, because this team is a 500 team at best. They're not battling for the playoffs. These are the moments where he's going to learn some things. These are the moments where he's going to grow in some areas. And so this is why I take off my host hat for a moment and I put on my fan hat, because I felt like that just needed to be communicated.
You ruined my joke because I was going to say, well, Mike, they're 15 games above 500 and we need a good catcher back there to do this right. No, you're right. This is the exact time of this tenure the Angels have where they're starting to build these young guys up that they need to have the reps behind the dish. They need to get the practice in and the work in. And look, he wasn't the greatest catcher behind the dish last year, but he was certainly better than he's been this year. And which is odd because it feels like they have a lot more catch coaching. They've got Travis d'Arnaud there, who previously said that he wanted OHoppe to be the greatest catcher in Angels history and all that kind of stuff. I think that's all well and good, but there's a disconnect, isn't there? And you kind of have to wonder, is this like a sophomore slump for Logan O'Hoppe? Because 2024 was truly his first full season. Remember, he got hurt at the beginning of 2023. And Shohei Ohtani certainly trusted him behind the dish. Remember that Ohtani wanted to work with Logan O'Hoppe when Ohtani was pitching. And so again, it's like, he's working on things. He's never not admitted that he's struggled, and he's never not admitted that he needs to get better. That's the attitude I want on this team. I don't want somebody who goes, gee, I don't know what's going on. Jose Suarez, remember? Like, I thought I pitched pretty good until I got hit for 6 runs in that
until I threw my third pitch.
Yeah, and it's just like, what are you talking about? You pitched pretty good. Like, you stunk. And there's been less than accountability on this team for the players, for the coaches, for the ownership, for even Perry Minasian. There has been so much less than accountability that it's nice to see somebody step up and go, yeah, I'm not doing too good, but I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get better. And I think that's who Logan is. I think you could say the same thing about Zach Neto. You could say the same thing about Nolan Schanuel. Even Joe Adell knows that he needed to make some changes, and he never stopped trying to make changes until he got this right. Mm-hmm. So it goes back to your point where we don't have the reputation to be sending guys down or doing this thing or doing that thing, because right now they're not 15 games above 500. They're not the Tigers, right? They're not that kind of team right now. I still have I just want to win my playoff prediction from before the season so that I can be insufferable on this show. But all that to say, yeah, they're sitting around 500 right now. This is the perfect time for Logan O'Hoppe to figure some things out, get right. And if it wasn't clear already, patience is a virtue. Patience with somebody like Joe Adell, who needed a full season's worth of plate appearances to finally get the chance to work on some things. And he finally got that at the major league level just last year. And I say that about Logan O'Hoppe as well. He needs the opportunity. He needs the time. Look, 2 months ago, we were saying, boy, do we give him an extension or Zach Neto an extension? Who should we do it first to? Yeah. Well, they're not going to do it at all until Anthony Rendon is off the books, first of all. Second, where are all those people now? Well, they're all piling on Logan O'Hoppe. Patience. That's what you have to have a team who's, nearly everybody on this team is 25 and under. So let's have a little patience here for those who are ready to send Logan into the sun on a rocket.
Angels get a series win against the Atlanta Braves last night. That was awesome to see. They won 5-1. John, first takeaway from that game. Jose Soriano, he's returned to form.
Yeah.
He was really good last night.
That was a relief.
Yes, 7 strong innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks through 101 pitches. Now at 104 innings. Remember, he had 113 last year, was a career high. John, here's the thing that I did notice. The velo was back, was strong. 97 on average on the sinker, 98 on the 4-seam fastball, 13 swings and misses.
Yeah, my big concern was, is the velo ticking down in his last start due to the amount of innings that he's pitched so far. And as you mentioned, 113 is what he did last year before he had to be shut down for the season. At 104, I'm glad to see that the velo is back. Mm-hmm. So, Mike, it goes to show, what is it about pitching at home, going from the bullpen to the mound that we've seen more than once that is just not connecting there? It's like, I don't know if they're not seeing something in the bullpen, or the transition from the bullpen to the mound is just too difficult. But that was promising to see. Again, 97 on the sinker, 98 on the four-seam fastball, and not concerned about this innings, not an innings limit, but again, when you do something you've never done before, and now he's going to be going to that limit for the second time this season, probably across his next 2 starts, unless he throws a complete game shutout. How about that? Let's call that for his next game. Just 9 more innings. That's all he needs before he hits the peak. Good to see that velo back, despite him getting closer and closer to that innings limit.
Yeah, second takeaway, John. Your boy, Jo Adell, has a 14-game hitting streak, had an RBI single in the first for the second night in a row. He did this after Zach Neto singled and Taylor Ward walked. It was all with 2 outs. In fact, his first 2 hits, John, were singles, not trying to do too much, hit it where it came from. He was 3 for 5 with an RBI last night. And this is a victory. He's hitting 250 on the season, John.
Yeah.
Like that is huge for someone like Jo Adell.
There's a Twitter follower. We have good interactions. Grumpy McDwarf. And he was very grumpy the other day when I talked about Jo Adell. He said, is he hitting over 200 yet? And I said, he's been over 200. What are you talking about? Well, now he's at 250, Grumpy. So there you go.
I love that. Third takeaway, John. Halo offense was really good in this game, led by Zach Neto, 3 for 5 with 3 runs scored, had a single, a double, and a home run in this game. He had his 13th home run, 30 RBIs on the season. And then Nolan Schanuel had a home run, his 8th, hit the dead center field, 415 feet. And then Taylor Ward got the cycle for Zach Neto. He got the triple in this game. Halo scored 5 runs on 11 hits, 4 walks in this game. They've been doing that a whole lot more in the last few weeks.
Yeah, they didn't even pitch to Trout in one of those. It was Enyel De Los Santos. Wasn't he somebody you wanted? Yeah, that's right. Yep. So he didn't even throw to Trout. Everything was out of the zone.
Yeah.
And that was an opportunity for the Angels to add on, and they did there. And so, 4 walks and a hit by pitch to Trout as well.
Yeah, Trouty, I know we've talked about him a lot and him up at the plate and where he should be and that he does look for the walk. But his eye lately has been so good, John. It's been so when he strikes out, I'm like,
he fouls off pitches too, Mike.
Well, and when he strikes out, I'm like, that's not a strike, right? Because that guy, his eye at the plate has been really, really good. Fourth takeaway, John. Christian Moore placed on the IL. Ray Montgomery said he wouldn't give a timeline, suggested that Moore's estimate is best case scenario. Moore's estimate was just a couple of weeks, and that's frustrating. It was neat to see him in the dugout last night with the team. Due to this, they brought up Chad Stevens. Now, Chad Stevens is somebody that Angels everydayers and fans have been clamoring for. So talk about Chad Stevens for a moment.
Yeah, he's 26 years old, an 11th round pick of the Astros in 2021. Didn't make it to the majors with the Astros. The Angels picked him up after he was released last May. He's a pretty good infielder. He's done really well in AAA recently, a 304 batting average, a 380 on base, a 540 slugging, 14 home runs, 21.2% K rate, a 10.1% walk rate. And across those games, 124 weighted runs created plus. Now, I do appreciate this from Jared Timms of Talkin' Halos. He said, I'm all for the enthusiasm for Chad Stevens because he deserves the call. But reminder, temper expectations, please. We do this every year with guys who are performing in Salt Lake. Keston Hiura, Jabari Blash, Cesar Puello, David McKinnon, Brendan Davis, Chris Carter. And so, did we all forget that the numbers in AAA are elevated when these guys get the call? Even, Scott Kingery was tearing it up before he got called up. So, look, I'm all for giving this guy a chance. I think it's fantastic. But again, we need to temper expectations. It's disappointing that Christian Moore had to go down with that thumb injury. So, Chad Stevens ended up starting at second base, hit ninth, hit 3 ground balls to Austin Riley at third base in his first 3 at bats. But Riley had to make some good plays to get those outs because they could have easily gone by any other guy who's not Austin Riley or a Gold Glover like him. And then he did strike out in his last at bat, but I wasn't worried about him playing second, right? No. He looked comfortable over there, made some great plays over there. So that's important to take away here as well. Mike, the Angels win the series in Atlanta, their first time doing that since 2005. Never have done it at Truist Park, which is kind of exciting. They're back. Stop me if you've heard of this before. Back at 500.
Stop.
Yeah.
I've heard this before.
Yeah, you've heard it before. Back at 500. They head to Toronto for the weekend. And should I check as of this recording where Toronto is standing at the moment, because they tied the Yankees.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a close one. Right now, as of this recording, bottom of the 7th, 1 on, 2 outs. Blue Jays up 6-5. So this could really go either way in that game, but neither here nor there, because Blue Jays have gotten hot and they've gotten back into the climb in the AL East. So that's going to be a tough task ahead. Before I ask you this question, I just want to point out, Mike, did you see how Brock Burke got Sean Murphy for the final out last night?
Yeah.
3 fastballs.
3 fastballs. Yep.
Up in the zone.
Yep.
98 miles an hour for the final out.
Yep.
3 swings.
Yep.
3 strikeouts.
Great call.
3 swings and a strikeout on 3 fastballs. Yeah.
Great call. Great pitches. If you get to point something out, I'm going to point something out. OHoppe had 2 hits.
Yeah.
So after my rant, I feel like that we need to celebrate that. And
Justified.
He had a bottom of the 6th inning. There was a knuckle curve that Soriano threw that Profar swung over. And did you see how OHoppe moved and hit the ball and picked up the ball and threw to first base? So rant justified.
Yeah,
right?
No kidding. So I just had to point that out, because let's stop throwing 98 mile an hour fastballs at Sean Murphy, even though that's the last we'll see of Sean Murphy. But just had to point that out. It is good to be back to 500. We'll see where we stand after this weekend as they head to Toronto for the 4th of July. What the heck? We can't even let alone can we not get Angel games at Angel Stadium on the 4th of July, which are super fun, by the way. I've been to a couple, you've been to a couple, but now they're not even in the country, Michael. What are we doing here?
Dumb. Just dumb. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB Game Night. You can find Game Night on the Locked On MLB YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts.
Blue Jays got Canada Day at home on Tuesday. Just saying. Why can't we have
the Angels?
Come on,
Manfred.
Give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels. Connect with Mike and I at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Whether you're watching or listening, come on over to today's show. Get in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you, Mike. After this holiday weekend, we come back on Monday. What do we have on deck for that show? Yeah,
we're going to watch the weekend series very close. We're rooting for a series win, because if they get a series win, they're over 500. But that's really what we want, right? We want a series win. 2 out of 3 against the Jays. They're a good team, so it's inevitable that the Angels are going to play up to that good team. And we're going to have all of our takeaways on Monday on Locked On Angels.
All right, everybody. We hope you have a fun and safe holiday with friends and family and whoever you decide to call family. We hope you spend some great quality time. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Ooh, that's not a firework. That's just a Dodgers flyout that the fans are going crazy